Surprise, it's foggy, but believe it or not, we haven't had a day like this one in quite a while, so I'm very excited to be out here. I'm also excited because even though this is not a dry land, for some reason there are barely any lakes around here, so I was very excited when I found this pond last night just looking for new places on Google Maps, and of course I had to come here and check it out. So that's not something that you see every day. I bet that on a regular day without the fog it looks pretty ugly, but today, to my eyes, this is the most beautiful lake in the world right now. I've been trying to capture that pillar, I guess, while still showing some of the background, and I'm playing with the shore, maybe showing more and less, and I think I got a couple of good images. I'm gonna keep trying because every angle is different, but pretty cool. So there's this beautiful island in the middle of the pond. What a pond! It has a little bit of everything, and that island, it's quite beautiful, but it is too foggy to make an image of just that island because it wouldn't be too clear. It wouldn't be a very good image in my opinion. I think it would be much better if we add something else, even if it's just a little tiny element that can serve as an anchor, something to look at first. When you first look at the image, okay, I see that, what else? If we don't show anything else, even though the image might be beautiful, it might not be interesting enough. So what I'm gonna do is use a couple of buoys that are in this pond slash lake and play with that, and the island in the background, and the other shore of the lake that is showing up now because this fog is clearing up a little bit. So I'm gonna be playing with those elements and see what I can come up with. So a good way to tell if your image has a strong enough reference is by asking your camera, more specifically the autofocus of your camera. My video camera was just having a lot of trouble trying to focus on the trees on the other shore because they are too far into the fog. But when I added that buoy to the frame, I was able to actually lock focus on that buoy and the camera didn't struggle anymore. So maybe that's a clue that we can use. If the camera is struggling to see anything in the scene, anything that is clear enough, strong enough, sharp enough, then someone looking at the image will struggle as well, including you in the future. Now, let's not confuse that with the thinking that everything in the frame has to be sharp, clear and strong. Nothing farther from the truth, and it's almost the opposite of what I try to do with my images, where I try to include, to add, to create some mystery. Take for example this scene. The pillar is back there in the background, very far away, it's not clear at all. So if I were to zoom in to 200 millimeters and try to make an image of just the pillar, that wouldn't be a very good image. Instead, what we can do is to use the shore that is closer to us, thus it's going to be much stronger, it's going to be darker in the frame, and use it as a leading line to that pillar. In that case, the pillar itself doesn't need to be that clear, it doesn't need to show all the details. Actually, the fewer details, the better, because we create some mystery. But the shore gives the viewer, whoever is looking at the image, something to, to hold on, to a guide, to how to read this image, how to look at it. This line is going to help you. It's yelling, please look here, look at this spot. The viewer is not going to be lost anymore. They might not have a clear idea of what they are looking at, but that doesn't matter because they can use their imagination to fill those gaps. What matters is that we keep them engaged with the image. I think this is going to be a beautiful image, so I'm just trying different things and see which one works better. From here, the shore makes a straight line from bottom to top of the frame towards the pillar. If I move forward or backwards, the shore makes like a more curved diagonal line, so I'm just trying to play with those two things. I like them both, so that might be a decision I will take later, but yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful here. There's this pretty cool, I think it's an old dead tree there on that island, but there is a stork nest on top of it, and it's gone now, but there was a stork right there a few seconds ago. It looks very, very cool, but it has that problem that I've been mentioning this whole morning. It's too far into the fog. It's not clear, and it's not going to make for a good image. I still took a shot or two of the stork. I'm gonna try to play with it in Lightroom, maybe with some dehazing to make it a little bit more clear, but I don't think it's going to be a great image. This is just one of those times, well, most of the times are like this, where something looks very cool to your eyes, but it just doesn't work for an image at least. It is time to go back to the wide angle. This is a very good view from here of that tiny island, but yeah, it requires a wider angle point of view. You can still see the nest, the stork from here, so I think you can see there in the frame up there. So I'm still gonna try to make an image of that, but first I'm gonna do this. So actually I was able to fit the tree with the nest on top in the frame. I'm just lacking the stork now. I don't know if it's gonna make a big difference because it's kind of far away, so I don't know if the stork would be very visible, but it could be like a little, what's the name, like an Easter egg. If you pay attention to the image, you might realize eventually about the stork. It just makes everything much better. And if you don't see the stork, well, it's still a good image. So fingers crossed that the stork comes back soon. Maybe it flew away because he saw me. In that case, it's never gonna come back. But one can only hope. So this is interesting. This is an old door, an old big gate here in the middle of nowhere. I guess it used to be the entrance to the path I just took, but right now it's just here, abandoned. Looks pretty cool, but yeah, no image to be made here. This is pretty busy, it's all overgrown, so yeah. I almost made another good image. I really like the trees at the other side of the pond, on the other shore, but as I said, I want to add something else because it's still pretty foggy and the trees are not clear at all. So I saw a few ducks a little bit farther away. I approached them, but I completely forgot to change the lens. I was using the wide angle lens, so I wasn't able to get the ducks close enough to me, so I don't think those images are going to work, but yeah, at least I tried, I guess. I found this pretty cool tree here. That's a duck. Looks pretty cool, but it doesn't work by itself. So even though it could work if I used more of the shore because it has a cool shape, but the right angle would be from farther down, and that could mean that I have to include the trees in the background, so it doesn't really work. But what I can do is play with that tree and the other one that you can see here in the background. That's another duck. And I think that would make for a more interesting, more compelling image. I've been walking around the pond, of course to check it out, but also to kill some time while I wait for the stork to come back. But I don't think it will ever do, at least as long as I'm here. The storks back at the train station are pretty shy, so I can only imagine that this one living on an island by itself is going to be even more shy. It probably doesn't like that I am here. But what a place, so beautiful in the fog. I had my doubts this morning. I almost didn't come because, you know, on Google Maps it looked like just a pond, but it's beautiful, and I'm glad that I came. God, this is horrible, it's terrible, it's worse than a dad joke, but I have to say it. This is the MVP, or the most beautiful pond. You can go ahead and unfollow me. I won't blame you. So I was revisiting this spot because he got foggier. Oh, the three ducks I tried to photograph earlier, they are here, and now I have the right lens. I have to move very slow and be very quiet, but I'm gonna try to move the video camera so you see it too. Nah, that didn't work as I was hoping it would. They were just too far. I would have loved them to be a little bit closer, more on the bottom of the frame, so they could be darker. Again, maybe I can play with that in Lightroom and maybe add some contrast just to the ducks and make them a little bit darker. I do like the composition. I do like the trail that they leave on the water, so it might work. It's just that I was visualizing something different. A moment I'm always looking forward to on very foggy days like today is when the sun finally breaks through the fog, as it's doing right now, because it makes for very dramatic scenes and it can make for very dramatic images. I just made one here, very simple, of the pond. The sun is still very bright, but unlike clear days, foggy days like today allow us to actually play with it, because we can play with exposure and darken the whole landscape a little bit, and to actually show the shape of the sun, the sphere. And I think it looks pretty cool, and that's what I try to do here. It's probably not going to work because there is nothing really of interest besides the pond, but you get my point. This is a good moment to make very dramatic images. And videos. You see, I look very dramatic. I can play with the sun. To see the sun also usually means that the fog is finally clearing up, it's going away, and it is definitely doing it here right now. No, this one still doesn't work. It's still too foggy, or I don't know if it's a good image at all, and that's maybe why I don't like it. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going, just head back to the car, because I've been here for quite a while, quite a few hours, just at this pond. I just didn't think this pond could offer so many photography opportunities, but I had a blast here. I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the images I made as well. And before letting you go, I just have to thank someone. That's right. Today I want to say a huge thank you to Eric Muhr, who is a very talented photographer from Oregon and who has amazing photographs from some of my favorite landscapes in the world. You should definitely check his work out following the links in the description down below. Eric is a great supporter of this channel. He's part of our Patreon community, and just a reminder that we get together once a week for a live stream where we talk all things of photography. The highlights are totally blown out. It's something that I try to use in my photography as well. The sky is totally blown out, and the beach is a little bit blown out as well, as you can see in the original. So if you want to join us over there, you're going to find the link in the description down below as well. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching again, and see you in the next one.